Okay. I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're live. No, I just got a
Happy
message
holidays, you filthy
We're
animals.
live. I just got the notification.
Yeah, I got a notification. It was like Streamlabs was like, "Oh, your mic is working, but there's no signal, but it's showing on the thing." So I don't know. If you can't hear me, let me know. But yeah, we're here. Still queer, to my knowledge. I don't think that's changing anytime soon.
Mm-mm.
And yeah, like Sophia said, happy holidays, you filthy animals.
That's a reference to oh, that was loud. Sorry, there's somebody else in the room with me, so pardon her crinkling the bag really fucking loudly because she got headphones on.
I
I'm
always
home
go
for
back.
the holidays, so I'm a little less in control of my environment right now.
I always go back to our first podcast when your mom came in with the groceries as we're like in the middle of recording this episode. She's like, "Oh my god, you're podcasting!" Dishes, bags of groceries, and I'm like, "We're gonna have to redo this, aren't we?" But it's fine. It's cool.
She's being cool right now. She's actually right here next to me on the big chair. Like I was like, just do me a favor, go on your tablet for a little while. She's okay. But I promised her I'm gonna help her like clean and stuff. So it was comes at a price.
My mom's
Yeah.
watching the stream of my nephew's hockey game because the parents live stream it to those who can't be there.
That's really cool.
Afterwards, we're gonna do baking.
Ooh.
Hey. Yeah.
So it seems like we're all kind of trying to be as festive as possible, given the circumstances of the world.
Yeah.
But I feel like we've been kind of like on this theme for a while, though. You know what I mean? Like we've been on this trajectory for a good while. Like things like the world at large seems to get rougher and harder and, more, I guess, at odds with the lives we're trying to live. And yet we persist.
As do the horrors.
It's funny. We were at Five Below earlier, and Rue picked up a magnet that says, "The horrors persist, and so do I." It's like a little flower.
But yeah, it's hard. But you have to. I think you have to try, especially now, to cultivate and stay hopeful. I think you have to. It's unfortunately our responsibility to stay happy in some way. You have to find something in your life that keeps you going. It's unfortunate that it's our responsibility. I wish that we could have an environment that sort of supports and cultivates that in us. I wish that we lived in a world that was more interested in our extracurricular pursuits, and not so much focused on productability and
labor wealth extraction.
What happened?
I said focus on labor wealth extraction.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And it would be nice if we could follow our bliss a little bit more, but and not feel the effects of it. I wish that there wasn't sort of a price to pay for it, but that's not the reality of it, right?
Yeah, it's like you wish you didn't have to sacrifice different parts of yourself just to pursue other parts of yourself. Like like it's like this idea of like no one is able to keep up with a full-time job, keeping up with cleaning every speck of dust in their house, and also like having a really long spiritual journey every day, or whatever the case is. Like no one's maintaining that, and if you are, you're a fucking liar. So sorry, you're just fucking lying.
Or you're able to outsource some of your labor through cleaning. Like I know some people who will pay somebody to like do their laundry, and that's kind of like where they also find extra time to do like witchcraft and stuff.
Yeah, and for me, like part of me is like, if I could afford like a housekeeper, would I? But I don't think I would, because for me, like I like to be in tune with my house. right? Like, I like to be in tune with everything. I want to know everything that's going on, and not just like I want to know where every speck of dirt is. It's like, you know, if something's got a crack in it, like I want to know. And you really don't know those little nuances and the little parts of your house unless you're the one kind of taking care of it and cleaning up and, you know, just kind of looking at things every day.
So the only thing I would ever outsource is my laundry, personally.
That's fair, because a lot of laundromats have drop-off service, at least around here.
And also, certain clothes that I'm starting to get because I'm buying wardrobe sales, you just kind of have to dry clean.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't want to wring out a frilly dress like that.
No. And I think that really is, like, kind of where it comes down to is, like, how are you distributing the labor of your job, distributing the labor of your household, distributing the labor of also your magic and your spirituality, your practice. Like, that is still, it's still labor too, in my mind. It's good labor. It's more fun labor for me. Like, it's more rewarding. I feel good about it.
Absolutely is emotional and mental labor, if not physical labor sometimes too, depending on your invocation or avocation methods and like what you're doing too, right?
Yeah, because like some people have very, you know, ecstatic practices to where, you know, they're working up all this energy and they're sweating, they're dancing, they're stomping, you know, like things like that. That takes a lot of physical energy to do. And if you're beat from, you know, working all week and then you just clean the whole house and cooked dinner for everybody and did all the laundry, well, you know, you're not going to have that sort of energy, you know, to do that. And I think for me with this particular winter solstice, so like in my tradition, we have a practice the 12 nights before Yule. It's called for Yule, so before Yule. And there's like these deep it's like the time of shadow work, right? It's the time for introspection and the time for self-reflection and the time to kind of like identify your bullshit, call yourself out on your bullshit, and also find a way to integrate your bullshit, right? You know, integrate the shadow self to work for you. And it's a like shadow work is a buzzword, you know, in sort of like our occult, spiritual, pagan, whatever community, but it is important. And I think for me this year it was interesting. I started this series of 12 meditations and I dropped off about halfway. And I realized what was happening is that Rue and we were experiencing things that were directly like related to the meditation. So real life things were popping up on those days that we were doing those meditations, and you know, we were at odds with each other sometimes. It was like our shadow selves came to the front and our shadow selves were like battling with each other through some of these like, you know, big things that were happening. And so I kind of dropped off the meditations because I was like, I'm experiencing this meditation, I'm living it right now. Like, we are actively experiencing this. And you know, some behaviors of mine, like, I'm not proud of. You know, I get really angry sometimes and I just kind of explode. And but you want to talk about like almost dark night of the soul, very self-reflective, like talk about calling yourself out on your bullshit. I kind of went through that this time, and
yeah,
it can be a little dark too, because it's like you're going through all these like dark reflections, but then it's also like when you come out of it, it's supposed to be like happy, cheerful, joyous, you know, like celebration. And you know, you have to, it's hard to balance those two things when you're trying to do this like deep reflective work, but also like be jolly and celebrate. So well, how are y'all managing?
What I would say in response to that is two things. A, as above, so below, right? And that also the other part that's inferred by that is as within, so without, right? So if you're doing internal meditation like that, of course you're going to experience the externalization of that meditation, right? Like that's one of the basic principles of Magick, is that your external space mirrors your mental space and vice versa, right?
So how have you been during this winter solstice, Scott?
It's been it's funny because I've noticed since the autumnal equinox, there's just been a lot of falling apart. But it's just, I keep jokingly and saying, life is lifing really hard and whatever, and it is. I've just noticed that things that, like, systems that I had in place that were very comfortable and really easy, or easy enough, are definitely all falling apart and definitely are not there anymore. And so now it's a big sort of a forced change that's
Mm.
coming, and things that
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not comfortable with, but I kind of have no choice but to change. Um and it's a good thing, like, I'm not sad at all, I'm not depressed at all. I'm overwhelmed. I am at times, but I'm also really excited because I'm like, I wonder what I could do now. You know what I mean? I haven't um been in the face of these uncomfortable situations
Mm.
recently. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I just, so I want to know, really, maybe I'm, maybe I've done so much changing, and I haven't been face to face with any of this stuff yet, that maybe I've changed so much more than I've realized that I can, and I am more resilient. I do see this
Mm.
more emotional resiliency thanks to therapy. um and so I am more resilient, and I can handle more. So maybe I could, you know what I mean? Maybe I can push a little bit harder, for these things that are going on in my life. But it is interesting how it really did follow suit with the seasons. I've been very aware of it, like I said, since the autumnal equinox. Just like little pieces here and there, just like falling away, and I was like, wow, okay. I was like, we're on this process of decay.
Mm.
And I'm accepting it. I did a wonderful little reading for myself recently that was really, really on the nose about, again, resiliency and weathering life's difficulties and learning. I also realized that I draw the high priestess a lot. Like,
Mm.
when I do readings for myself, I consistently draw the high priestess, which I
Mm.
think is so odd that I draw her quite often. And which is, often about surveying, right?
Mm.
Intuition and surveying your situation, and sort of not necessarily about inaction, but before you act, sit down and really look at what's happening around you. And you have to be really honest and very what wise or what have you, to really to extract information from what's happening and be able to act upon it in a correct way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's at least that's a lot what the high priestess means for me. Doesn't matter. It's cool if it means something different for other people. Um,
Mm.
but yeah. So that's kind of what's been going on for me. And then it's still persistent. So, like, it really so from the autumnal equinox, even now, has been sort of a very dark, very yeah, it's been difficult. It's been difficult. Again, not so difficult that I'm sad, but I do have a great support system.
Mm.
Uh, I wish that I could say that I've been doing a lot of magic, but I haven't. I've just been so tired, which is another thing that I really want to correct. I do have. I will say that recently, within the last week or two, um, I've been having what I feel are really intense. Uh, I don't know how. I guess intuition.
Mm.
From my spirits, who are kind of like, hey, you're going through all this, but you could do magic about it. And I'm like, oh, you're right. And so I am uh, putting together a little something something to um, really, really break down the hindrances of it all. I
Mm.
just kind of feel like everything that's happening is they're really big, they're hurdles, and there's many of them. You know what I mean? And I need, like, in order for me to proceed, I need for, like, this sort of the rubble and the
Mm.
rubbish to You know what I mean? I got
You
kind
need
of
the
got to blow it all
trash
up.
to like take itself out, kind of thing.
Yeah. I need to like get rid of the difficult terrain and be able to kind of walk a little easier to get done what I need to get done. I don't expect the magic to handle all of it. I just need the way forward to be cleaner. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm going to use my magic for. I found, I think I probably said this in an earlier episode, but I find that when I don't use magic necessarily to fix a situation, but I use it to correct, like when I use magic to sort of make a situation easier to manage, right? Like, so instead of using magic to magic to manage a situation, I use magic to sort of make the situation more manageable for me.
Right, so it's not like you're trying to like snap your fingers, come up with some like magical solution to like, oh, the problem is fixed now and I don't have to worry about this anymore. And it's more like I just need to be able to manage this easier. I need this to like, it's like a 10 and I need it at like a 6.
And that's where my magic really flourishes, when I want to do that exactly. Yeah. So that's what I'm focused on right now, is making these little weird, annoying, difficult and overwhelming situations a bit more easier to cope with. But again, I haven't. I've forced myself though to really try to enjoy this season. I actually enjoy the holiday season, even Yule, in a more secular way. To be completely honest with you, I actually like holidays when they feel, even though I can acknowledge um the metaphysics of these ancient animist holidays that we acknowledge and celebrate in our traditions, but I find that I learn the most lessons from them when I celebrate them in a secular way. I love togetherness. I love family. I love, like, that's the stuff that I find the most power in, because like I feel like the holidays give us an opportunity to build community. You know what I mean? Have you ever gone to a holiday village somewhere in your town, and and everyone just seems so joyous? You know what I mean? There's something so heartfelt, and the lights, and it's maybe a little gloomy, but somehow all the lights burn away the gloom. You know what I mean? It's yeah, there's something about this season that I really enjoy, the community, and then the family and the togetherness, and I think that those things, and what I like to do is to use those feelings as a way to. I like to sit with how that feels in my body, and I like to remind myself that I can call this up whenever I need it. You know what I mean? It's not just a temporary thing. You can breathe and settle into yourself, and you can call it up again when you're feeling alone, when you're feeling lonely, when you're feeling like you've lost all hope. You can pull that light out again, and it can be there for you. And it's not a fix. It's not a fix all anyway, but it is a tool, a really good tool to use to stay grounded, to stay grateful for what you do have, not what you don't. Gratefulness, I know it seems cheesy, I've said it before, but it's really a powerful tool in mindfulness and groundedness. um, and I think that that's something that this season in particular really teaches. And I think that that's why you have like what you call it, uh, for Catholic folk magic, you have Saint Lucia. Her feast day was a few days ago. She's an Italian saint. Interestingly, equally celebrated. The more popularly celebrated in Scandinavian countries. She wears a crown of candles.
Yes.
Yeah, and Saint Lucia, or Saint Lucy. She
There was a couple
she
people at the Parade of Spirits dressed as her.
And there's a good reason. Saint Lucy, or Saint Lucia, she is the goddess. She's the saint of sight and vision.
Mm.
She's often prayed to by Catholics for the blind, for the like physically blind,
Mm.
or people suffering with ailments that will make them blind,
Mm.
as an attempt to avert or whatever. But in folk magic as well, she's also used for psychic vision to gain psychic insight. But she also is used or prayed to for her virtues of and I guess this applies to psychic vision because this is something that it's other things that psychic vision should be doing for you, but to look at things in a realistic way, right?
Mm.
No rose-colored glasses, no nonsense, right? Not your own or other people. Um, to see things as they really are, to see your interactions as they really are, right? To cut through your baggage in the way that it sort of paints a situation from essentially your perception of a situation, right? She can
Mm.
teach you sort of how to peer past your perception into the reality of a thing, what's really happening.
Because
And I think
sometimes
that
we get stuck in our own interpretations of how things are supposed to go or how things are supposed to work.
mhm.
And
And that's
she's,
normal,
yeah.
you know.
And she's there to like kind of blow those misconceptions wide open and be like, well, maybe you should look at it from this angle, you
Right,
know?
right, right. And I think that that's why, and it's interesting that a spirit like that is so heavily um, prayed to during the season of lights, and we have it kicks off, if I'm not mistaken, I think Diwali, which is a
Mm.
Hindu festival. I think this season is kicked off by Diwali, which is the Hindu festival of lights, and it just continues on with the Jewish festival of lights. The obviously Yule, which is the Nordic, Germanic, Scandinavian festival of lights.
We were
Um,
kind of talking about it yesterday because we had our kindred's like Yule ritual, Yule gathering, and we were
mhm.
talking about that yesterday. Like as we were all gathering, we were saying, like pretty much every culture across humanity, across time and space of humanity, has a light festival or
Mhm.
something like this,
Yep.
and it has to be for a reason. Now, granted, people on the other hemisphere, they're just celebrating this at the opposite time that we are. So I'm not forgetting about the people, on the other hemisphere, because we are in the northern hemisphere here. But, like every culture has this, and the reason is it gets dark and cold and scary. And now it's not so much like I know, like, we make this common, like, thing of, like, well, now we have, like, heat, and, like, we have, like, heaters, and we have better constructed buildings and stuff like that, like, to keep us more safe and more protected from the cold, but it's still scary. It's still
Yeah.
scary when it's dark and cold. Like, when you're out there walking, like you're like, oh my god, am I gonna fall on black ice? Like, am I gonna slip on that and break my foot again? Like I really don't need that to happen.
Mhm.
Or
Mhm.
like even just of like, it also feels a little creepier when it's dark and cold. Like it
And you're
kind of
alone.
feels, yeah, it feels a little spookier, and you're cold, and you're trying to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible. Maybe sometimes some of us will take a walk out in the cold or the snow and, kind of
Yeah.
appreciate, but usually that's in the daytime, right? We'll take a nice little snow walk when it's nice and bright and sunny and, whatever the case is. But once that sun goes down, we're like, oh, well, it's too cold. It's too
Well,
spooky, too
Yeah.
scary.
Turn on your heater. You're in.
Canadians actually do quite like an after dark walk when it's
Yeah.
snowing. Like we just so the thing that we do in Canada is because the weather can get so extreme. We just like get really good at adapting to whatever our environment's doing, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like we got motherfucking rain gear up here. Let me just put it like that. And we got like really good snow pants and really good snow coats. So like when we want to go for a walk in -30, it's in like Sorel boots with like your long johns on underneath like a pair of snow pants, and you got like a jacket underneath your fucking like gigantic outer shell for your winter coat, and like it's really a matter of like knowing what equipment to bring for each setting, right?
Yeah.
Which is also kind of how Canadians earned the what was that? The reputation in World War II of being like some of the most fierce fighters, because the Germans said the Canadians fought in the misery of the elements as though it was their natural habitat.
Because it was.
Because it essentially is, we get used to it, right? So like when I was working outside in the winter this year, I was very grateful that in my childhood, like my dad and mom would take me, we'd go out like to the tailing ponds where there's hills, and we'd sled down the hills repeatedly. And then after that, we'd go and have a really big bonfire, not like a little campfire that people call a bonfire. Like I'm talking a fucking proper bonfire.
Mm-hmm.
And you're getting warm outside next to that shit. And I got really good at like being outside in the cold and warming up off of a heat source and then like rotating it and like drying off and shit. Because like, you do it so often as a kid that you just develop the reflex and the training for it, right? So like cold's whatever. I absolutely love going for a walk in like minus fucking 10 with like my gear on while it's snowing and it's like nighttime in a city and like you can see the lights illuminating the snowflakes. Like it's
cool.
Mad. Yeah.
And this is I think a great another thing. This is almost sort of a side note, but still relevant. How we talk about like regional magic, how magic is regional. And I think it's really I hope that people were able to look at that and be like, oh, you know what I mean? That's interesting, right? Because that's exactly what we're talking about. Like when we say magic is regional, that literally that is what we're talking about. We're not just talking about on a metaphysical level. We're also talking very much about sort of this sort of a cultural, if you will. That's a very cultural experience. It's a Canadian cultural experience versus, you know, us here living in Philly in the US, right?
Where we are, we're just never satisfied with the weather. Like it's either too hot or too cold.
Well,
like it's never
Canadians
perfect.
Are the
right?
exact same. A lot of Canadians in cities are the same fucking way. It could be like 20 if it's not in the 10 to 20, actually even 10, if it's not in like the 15 degrees to 25 degrees range, city people in Canada will bitch because a lot of them are used to being indoors constantly. It's more so like people on the small town / outdoorsy side of Canada who are really fucking resilient to it because we're just constantly out in it, right? Like are you gonna tell me that I should like I don't know, it's just you gotta live your life, right? Like you gotta shovel your fucking driveway. You gotta like make sure your pipes don't freeze. Like even if you're not going out to work in winter, you still have to do like maintenance shit, right? And very few people even like have room to cut their own wood in their house. So like you go outside and do your cutting block and you cut some wood, right? And like maybe you do have space to cut wood inside. That depends on your house. If you're still doing like a wood burn stove, like a lot of people do. But also some people are on like natural gas and shit. So like it just really depends. You know, everybody's got a different lifestyle and how they interact to it. And like somebody who's in a really rural area who practices witchcraft is going to have a much more deep relationship with that wood fire stove than just somebody who's doing it for purely heat.
Right.
But it's so interesting at the same token because it's like, you know, you have someone who's more of an urban practitioner, right? You know, they have an apartment and so they don't have to worry about going outside to chop wood, you know, and because they have, there's maintenance people that take care of the building and they make sure that the pipes don't freeze, you know, like that's not on you. And that's why you're paying an exorbitant amount of money for rent, you know, to make sure that someone checks that the pipes aren't
freezing. You're paying an exorbitant amount of money for rent because housing
evil
corporations have taken over.
Yeah, because evil is afoot. But that's what your rent's supposed to go towards, right? Is, you know, building maintenance and stuff like that. And but you might have a different, you know, like I still think that in the winter I do think we slow down. Maybe I do think we slow down, you know, even in colder climates, you know, that, you know, people are more adjusted to those climates. I do think there's a way of slowing down because you're just going outside and you're just enjoying it. You're just looking at the snow, you're feeling the cold, you're taking that walk, you know, like you have those moments where you can slow down. But I don't know. This year, it feels like I have to figure out how to slow down. I think that's kind of where I'm at. I have to figure out what things I can pump the brakes on, or maybe park for a bit, and what things I need to like kind of pump more gas into, sort of thing.
Yeah. I really think that stuff is the manufacture that particular feeling for me as well is a very like manufactured feeling. I don't like in the sense of like the external world kind of breaking in, and not in a good way. Like everything happening right now, there is like layoffs and there is benefits. Our social benefits are cut here. There's tons of layoffs. There's what else? Oh, food prices are ridiculous.
It's
It's
the
just
antithesis of the spirit of the season.
right. We're working, kind of against something, actively pushing back on us. And yeah, you're because you're trying to survive in that way. You're trying to make sure that you can put food on your table. You're trying to make sure that you can maintain your health insurance. You're trying to make sure, whatever it may be, or you have a stable income, or you're trying to look for a source of income. Like it's a lot. It's a lot. And I think that like feeling of rushing in the brain and in your body, it's because of that. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, you're good. I just wanted to interject too. And while we're on the topic, it's important to remember that you remember A Christmas Carol, the one where like the old man gets terrorized by the ghosts into sharing his money. It's important to remember that the poor guy in that movie still actually had more money than the average American does now. Like there's a breakdown that they did online, and the average American now is more poor than the character in that movie.
I fucking saw that meme. I gotta find that meme and share it in our Discord or something. Yeah. So someone did so he made, what was it, 15 shillings a week? I think that was the number.
Yep.
So
they
the guy
on that and how it's shilling translated from that day to modern times, accounted for inflation, and he makes way more than we do.
He made like $30 an hour, I think it was. I think it was roughly like $30 an hour is what 15 shillings a week came down to. It was like $30 an hour. So even he was being paid a livable wage. Like I but yeah, if
struggling because he had a family and like rent prices and like food,
and he had a sick kid,
right?
Didn't he? Because he was the one with the sick kid, right? Like his So
kid.
like, yep. And so it's so funny because before we left for Yule yesterday, my roommate Ken and his girlfriend were here, and they were watching several versions of the Christmas Carol. They started with Muppet Christmas Carol, which is I think is the best one.
It's essential.
Yeah. That's what me and Ken had actually done last year. I think we had watched like 5 or 6 different versions of A Christmas Carol, just like in succession. But it's good though. It's a good story. And honestly, I really would like to create a ritual around that, like a spell, a ritual. And that's sort of what I'm building when we were dropping in all those names of our queer ancestors, like the people who have gone before us, the people who are passed on. That was kind of my idea behind it. Kind of appealing to their spirits. Obviously, we need to establish a good relationship with them first, but appealing to those spirits and being like, you are the ghost of Christmas past, you are the ghosts of Christmas future and present, like that's what you are now, and you need to go and terrorize these motherfuckers.
So also, if
that's kind of the idea.
You can you could also literally conjure them as an abstract archetype because they've existed in the collective human unconscious for so long, because
like the queer ancestors.
Well, like, let me give you an example of this. Think about how hard it is within Western society to find somebody who doesn't know A Christmas Carol.
Right.
Like, it's one of the most absolutely universally known and beloved Christmas stories, right?
And usually, even if you're not Christian, you know of the story.
Everybody knows about it, even if it's just through like meta-contextual analysis or like culturally relative topic and discussion. They exist as egregores already within the collective unconsciousness. You could literally tap into that mask and use it to empower whatever ghosts and spirits you conjure to seriously go terrorize some rich fucking people.
The archetype of the ghosts of Christmas past, present, future. Yeah.
I know a practitioner who really likes the idea of making like your own holidays in the occult tradition instead of like following the traditional ones. And for their like Halloween ritual, they honor Sam from Trick or Treat as and they've kind of took his deified archetype and
That's really
give
cool.
him an altar. Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yep. So I can see that. I could see, and the logic is the same. Like Trick or Treat is a cult classic, and people love it. It's just for many people, it's become a Halloween essential movie, right? So now Sam has become sort of this spirit of Halloween, right? Keep the traditions or else. You know what I mean? Like, and I like that. You know what I mean? It's very similar to this. Sam is like the Halloween cousin or whatever to the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future.
I think culturally
Totally.
we kind of
Also,
lost it. We kind of lost that idea of a Christmas Carol. Now we're just like, oh yeah, that old story. We're like, well, what the story actually is saying? Like what it means.
It have a lesson. Mm-hmm.
I also need to just do an ADHD moment real quick. Look at the lipstick that my sister gave me. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got like a fucking pseudo veve on it. Like it's basically a veve, but with hearts.
That's pretty.
You see that?
I thought it was obsidion or something at first, or like some kind of stone.
And then the top is a black rose that you pull out, and it's like Anasui, and then it goes string.
I was expecting that to be a black lipstick for some reason, but
it smells so good. It smells like, I'm not sure if it's patchouli or not, but there's like a little bit of a natural herbal essence in this, and it smells really good.
Darian has his. This is his. He recently got this. It's lipstick.
That's adorable. And I feel like I can hear Rue screaming about that product, like from wherever they are. Oh, they're at Mike and Stacy's right now.
Also, I don't know if y'all noticed, but I got my eyebrows done all cunty again. I really I want to get them to arch it more, but the girls really don't understand how. They always keep doing the straight piece here, and it's like, this is where I want it to dive. Like, you really need to get that. I'm gonna have to explain it to them next time.
I actually want
to the third time I've tried for it.
I really love your makeup today because it's giving like that like early 2000s makeup look, and thanks. I really really like that. It's very early Britney,
with like the light pink lipstick, but it's like metallic, and you can see it, but it's not too strong.
It's like isn't that Y2K kind of vibe, right?
Yeah,
that's what that is. I love it.
It's much more visible in person. I actually quite like this lipstick shade. The moment my sister showed me it, because she can't wear lipstick anymore, it dries her lips out. I was like, yo, it's like a metallic pink that's like in the neutral range without being overwhelming. Sign me the fuck up.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. As a millennial.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so like, where were we? We were talking about conjuring ghosts to terrorize rich people because it's an important thing. I mean, at this point, why don't we just conjure demons too? Like, this is something we were talking about before the episode that we kind of wanted to veer in a little bit. I've been talking with my friends about how I think a practice that we don't do enough of in modern times is like naming the demons of modern society and working with the ones that are non-adversarial to have positive outcomes, and absolutely binding and tethering the adversarial ones and making them submit so that we can bring negative forces under control. Because like society is being run by our lesser and lower impulses right now, and like absolutely just low energy. Like it's basically a demon's playground, right? And I really get the feeling that like we can't love and light our way out through this. We need to like chain and tether some bad fucking forces and like stamp it under the heel and say, you either have no more power here or you work for me, and we're gonna make this shit fix. Because I'm seriously bringing some mommy's home energy in 2026, right? And mommy is gonna set the fucking rules, and we're gonna like fix some shit because 2025 was not okay. Like, very few things about this year was okay, and I think that most of us spent collective shock. We spent a year in collective shock, but I think people are absolutely pissed off, and 2026 is the year of motherfucking retribution.
I agree. I think we were just reeling in 2025. Like everything, it was just like, whoa, and this thing, and this thing, and this thing. I don't even want to get on. I don't want to get on a political tangent too much, but yeah, but like the Patriot games that like that they're trying to, and like just these very sensationalized awful things, and then like but then also like the actual awful things that are happening, you know, all these things that are coming to light with everything with the Epstein files. And I just hate that justice seems to work at the speed of molasses rolling uphill sometimes, you know.
Because we don't truly have justice, we have avarice and corruption, right?
Right.
And that's why I like think it's so important to bind them as demons. Like, I'm considering Avarice, who I talked about last time, as like literally a demon lord of our modern times, because she literally burns people and inspires them to have that energy where they think that they're the most important one and they have the right to tear other people down to build themselves up. And it's like that really toxic parasite energy, right? Like Avarice is that to a T, as a daimon. And we were even talking about calling them daimons because it's more useful as a term, because demons specifically demonizes them, and daimon refers to them in their more like natural context, right?
As more of like a
from the jump.
yeah. I know we have a whole episode planned for Consorting with Spirits, but in particular, I did really enjoy the book because it kind of gave me. Sometimes I still struggle to work within a sort of Christian paradigm, especially when it comes to like demonic or angelic entities, because I didn't really grow up Christian. So like I grew up adjacent to it, you know, like I understood certain things, certain holidays, like I understood about demons. But then at the same time, when I was a teenager, I really loved the concept of Lucifer. I loved the concept of the devil and, you know, all of these sort of like adversarial figures. And I worked with a guy who was a flat earther, but he was really into the Book of Enoch. At the same time, and so he was like, did you know that giants walked the earth at some point, and you know, like all of this shit, and you know, he kind of got me interested in that, and I was like, oh right, there are all these other books that like didn't make the cut, you know, into, you know, the Bible. And I didn't even know about the Council of Nicaea until, you know, honestly, I think until me and Rue really got together. I didn't really understand that they had a moment in history where they said, okay, well, this is what's canon now, you know. Yeah, I didn't know that. I think we lost Sophia, unfortunately. I don't know if you're still there, Sophia, but you are frozen on a picture of you.
But yeah, I do see my camera's frozen, so let me just jump out and jump back in. I see it just focused on my fucking chin.
Yeah. Gotta love that tech. But yeah, I was just looking at the chat real quick. We do have 6 people in the chat right now. That's what's up.
Oh, cool.
Rue is one of them.
Having your phone be on data in the middle of your hometown that's in the middle of a fucking nowhere in British Columbia. Sorry.
You're doing pretty good, though. You're doing pretty good. Like, I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we got like 6 people in the chat right now. I see Rue, I see Chris, I see Rat. It's good to see you in the chat, Rat. You know, it's funny. When you posted that you would be able to like make the live chat, because I was kind of back and forth. I was like, I still have so much editing to catch up on. I have like holiday prep to do around the house. I'm like, should we even record? Should we just wait until the new year and just kind of like, you know, come back to it? But then when you were like, oh, I could be in the chat, I was like, oh well, Rat could be here, so we got to record today. So I'm glad we were able to get together. And yes, I see Stacy here in the chat. Hey, Stacy. Lana, I think you are a new name. I don't recognize that name. Hello, welcome. And if you're someone I know, hello.
I gotta say how much I love how this pendant actually is very visible as opposed to other ones. Like some pentagram pendants, you're like, what is that? Until you get closer. This one's like, and it's actually kind of a more obscure symbol that less people are used to.
I see that. I actually liked I purposely got a smaller pentacle on purpose. I did find a sterling silver pentacle that was larger, like my first pentacle, but I liked it smaller just because not to hide it or anything, but I don't know. It's just easier to do.
This one's actually pretty small. It's just very visible because it's like a laser cutout piece of steel.
I like those laser cutout ones. Yeah,
they're very nice. I do quite like it.
I actually wanted to get a new Pentacle of Mars for protection.
I have so many things to say about that. So first off, if you're getting a Pentacle of Mars, really have to get it from somebody who knows how to do their planetary hours, because that's like where most of the power is derived, is like doing it on its planetary hour during its planetary day. And then you also want to like do upkeep on them, because like, for example, if someone knows how a 6 of Mars works really well, they can do remissions to Mars to bypass somebody else's blessing to gain more favor with the Mars spirits.
Yeah,
to like
that's
circumvent somebody's 6.
Are you looking for
really
a pendant, Scott, or just like a thing?
Sorry, everybody. Sorry for the door.
No, you're fine.
What you call it?
Are you looking for a wearable pendant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Here's one thing I got.
I've been
So it's
considering.
actually really cool. Check this.
Mm.
You can get from your local occult shops, like paper ones. I keep that in the back of my phone, and you can like richly charge those on the time. If you don't always like have space to carry a pendant with you, those can work really well too.
What I wanted, I like to do wood burning. It's kind of been like a little passion project of mine for a bit now, and I do want to start. I have these like they're like 4-inch by 4-inch wood, little blocks, like little thin wood tiles, basically. And I'm like, man, I could make like planetary seals on these, you know, like I could do the seals, but it's wood. So, and I know a lot of people prefer to work with like metal usually when it comes to
because
those.
the metals each have a planetary association with each of them, but then also that can get toxic, because like, what do you do when you're doing Saturn? It asks you for a lead tablet, right? Like,
right.
Yeah.
So my idea was, you know, to start, you know, kind of making some things out of wood. I think I have little blank round discs that I might be able to do as like a pendant or something, Scott. So when I do planetary stuff, I'll only work on it during the actual planetary hours. So, you know, it could take several sessions, you know, to get, you know, like a full thing done. But yeah, I think I'll do it if you're willing to be my guinea pig for my for my experiments.
I like wood burning too, so like that's a cool idea. Yeah, I like it. And we can work on it so you can do stuff together too.
I know, and that's I want to craft. I want to make things, and not even just for the shop. Like obviously, yeah, okay, make things for the shop, but like just make things. Make magical things that I want to do, and I want to feed this like artist inside of myself, this crafter, this creator. And it's just like it just seems like there's so many fucking barriers in between I want to do this thing and I'm sitting down to actually like do the thing. It's just like it becomes like, well, I'm tired, or you have to do this, or you know, this has to be cleaned, or you have to run an errand, or like the other day I had sat down to do some writing. I was like, I'm gonna write. Like that's the other thing that's been like kind of gnawing at the back of my brain is like, you need to write. You need to write things. I don't know what I need to write, but I just need to get words out, kind of thing. And so I sat down and I here, you know, like where you see me now, which is just in the first floor of my house, which is just kind of one open room. And then it was like, and then a person walked by, and okay, yeah. And then I go back to it, and then someone else walks by, and they're like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, so I need to think of a different location to like try and write, you know.
It sounds like you need ADHD meds.
Yes, I absolutely need those. I absolutely need those more than anything. I think that's been my real problem this whole time is I'm just ADHD as fuck. And
get this man some Vyvanse.
Yeah, I can't take that like. I can't take anything that's like an upper, because like I'm on blood pressure meds, so like I can't take anything that like will make me vibrate into the next dimension. But you know, like maybe something like a little bit lower than that, I guess, you know.
There's stuff now that they could try. I know.
But then it's like getting diagnosed, like getting the whole diagnosis, and honestly right now I don't know if I want to go through that.
Yeah. My brother has diagnosis. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, don't even get me started on like getting diagnosed for like any kind of like neurodiverse anything right now.
It's trouble.
It's a pain in the
That, and I feel like it'll just put me on another list. Like, I'm probably already on a list of some sort.
It depends entirely on the state that you're in.
Yeah.
Like in Canada, for example, I know it's very different, but I got diagnosed with autism over here in BC. And for example, we don't transfer medical records provincially. So I don't have a diagnosis in Ontario.
So
because
what?
they don't communicate.
That's insane. It's like I'm only autistic in this province.
But here's the thing too. You can't get an autism diagnosis. I can't get an autism diagnosis in Ontario because for their criteria, you have to have an early childhood caregiver with you present to do the test, which is such a fucking unreal level of a hurdle. Like, oh, so I need my fucking mom to come with me to tell you that I'm fucking autistic? Like, it's insane. But it's basically to gatekeep because they don't want a lot of people getting diagnoses out there.
Yeah.
You can get it another way too, but it's like a lot more difficult. Like, for example, my friend got diagnosed, but it's because she had like, I don't want to talk too much about her story, but she had to go to like a mental health facility out here for separate reasons. And during there, she got the diagnosis. So that was a whole different thing. But just for like your average person, like me getting a diagnosis, I can't unless I'm either admitted to the same facility through a similar treatment process, or I have my mom come visit to get me an Ontario diagnosis. Why they do that though is because Ontario will provide you disability if you have autism, and the way it works is really cool. You'll get your rent paid for you and you'll get a bunch of benefits, but because autism doesn't preclude you from like not being able to find a job, sometimes they make it so that you can get permanent disability depending on how your stuff works, where like if you work a job and then you can't stay on that job, you go back to disability. So like if I did have that, I might be able to like have like certain benefits and things like that. But it's so complicated navigating different levels of like ability and disability, because like I do have like degenerative conditions like Ehlers-Danlos, but I fell slightly outside of the ranges. They didn't want to classify. It's a whole thing.
Right, it's when you're
about my condition.
Yeah, it's like you're autistic, but you're not autistic enough to qualify. You know, you're disabled, but you're not disabled enough to qualify, and that is rage-inducing. Simply put.
It's a whole fucking thing, right? It's a whole fucking thing because that looks cool when I pull my eyebrows up like that to arch them more, like Pamela.
In your Pamela era.
In my Pamela era.
I really wanted to pick up.
Sucks. Anyways, let's get back to talking about Magick.
Well, I was thinking of other blonde ladies, and we almost picked up a "In Dolly We Trust" sign at Five Below. It was like a pink sign. It was "In Dolly We Trust." I was like, "Oh,
that's cute.
Yeah,
that's really cute." But I was also going to say too. We were discussing a couple of sort of all related, actually. So, Jay, you were talking. I love your nails, by the way.
Thank you. I did them. No, I'm just kidding. I know you're talking about Sophie.
I know that.
No fucking way.
I bit them to perfection. Thank you.
Right. You were talking about how you've had a difficult time working within an Abrahamic framework on like invocation, etc. And Sophia, you were talking about working the planetary spirits in a particular way to gain favor if someone's like using them against you, kind of thing. And I was mentioning how that's actually pretty common, but it's funny that you guys mentioned this, because I was saying to myself, I almost wanted to make a video or something about this, because we don't talk about this a lot, and I've been thinking about it for the past couple of weeks, actually, where we talk about this, like experienced occultists, practitioners, witches, etc. Even in like the ATRs, that's a thing in pretty much in all magical traditions, honestly, especially like from the animist spirit model. We do this, and we don't talk about how. And there's not many resources on how. I think that it's in Jason Miller's book, and it's also in Donald Michael Craig, the late Donald Michael Craig's High Magick, 12 Lessons in High It's a really popular book. Hold on one second. I'm so sorry. I have it pulled up right here. Modern Magic: 12 Lessons in the High Magical Arts by Donald Michael Craig. It's an excellent book. If you're even, I don't really delve too much into high magic. When I work with like planetary seals, I work with them in a very folk magic and traditional craft way.
Yeah.
But
like I'm thinking about the planet, like the energies of the planet. You know, I'm not really like
right.
Yeah.
But I was also saying too.
No, I'll deal with it.
I was also saying too that it is helpful to like, as far as like, if you wanted to, like, for you, Jay, if you wanted to take the prayers that you see, like the traditional, like, you know, in the name of, you know, Yahweh, that kind of stuff, if you were to go through that and get a piece of paper and you can like start changing it to the mythologies of your tradition, and it would have the exact same effect.
I'm thinking of taking like the LBRP, right, and like redoing it.
Right. The LBRP, for whatever reason, is really difficult. I don't know why the LBRP is weird, but if you can manage to make it work, that's great. Some people have. I've never been able to get it to work any other way, which is why I simply just throw it out. But I mean, like, if people can do it, great. What was I saying? So I suppose it applies there. But anyway, I digress. What was I saying? Yeah, you can. So the way that I know that you could do this is actually pretty traditional. So even in like with cunning folk, they would change their prayers, like the things around in their prayers, to fit the situation that they're actually currently in. So like they weren't just saying the same words all the time for the same situation. It was different. They would change it, and it wasn't even necessarily always something. It could have been heartfelt, you know, it often probably was. Yeah, there were people that would kind of come up with their own prayers and sort of just consistently use them, so they become sort of tradition. There's power in tradition because it's something done over a long period of time and multiple.
You are?
What you call it?
I put the weed bowl in a Ziploc.
Go ahead. I just had to mute Sophia real quick.
Okay.
So go ahead, Scott.
Oh, you could do that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can do that on my end. Sorry, Sophia, I had to mute you for a second, so just let me know when you're ready to come off of mute. Just give me like a thumbs up or something. Okay, hold on.
My apologies.
No, you're fine. No, we're working in on not our typical
holiday
environment. Yeah, holiday mode.
Yeah. But it's actually really nice. I like seeing us all at home and relaxing and stuff. But
we strive for perfect imperfection.
Right. But you can change things around as far as like that goes, and then absolutely, as far as what Sophia was talking about, if the idea of giving more to a spirit, if you can offer a spirit more than what it was offered to, like, let's say someone sends something after you, if you can give that spirit something more than what was offered to it previously,
right? Like I'll make you an offer you can't refuse.
It's kind of like that, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of like a double cross situation. You can get the spirit often to do that. It is a thing that we've done. It is part of real tradition to do that. So you can sort of like do, which is another reason why on this podcast, and I know we've all agreed, which is why we're not on this podcast so big on like getting rid of everything really fast, right?
Yeah.
That's another reason why. I mean, on top of the other reason where like most things don't actually want to hurt you, but you know, it oftentimes is just you being scared, as we've said before. But this is another reason, because at times where you actually come upon something that is genuinely attacking you, 9 times out of 10 it's because someone sent it after you.
They usually don't just like say, "Hey, fuck you, buddy."
Right. 9 times out of 10, if you're genuinely being attacked, because someone sent it after you.
Or
and then the other time is because you're in its space and you did something to probably make it actually provoke you. That's the other time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or you done fucked up.
right. And that's a different. You have to give offerings, and you actually have to apologize and do the right thing.
Just like with people.
Right, exactly like with people. You have to make amends, and you can do that. And I really wish that I wish I had like more something prettier to say about it, but it really is that easy. I think that we kind of make a lot of these processes really scary, but I don't think they have to be. I find that there's a lot of power in simplicity. People often, had difficult lives of their own at different times, and I'm sure that they didn't always go out of their way to make anything overly formal when they didn't have to. And I'm sure that these people would simply be like, "Hey, you're coming after me. I didn't really do anything wrong. That person's just an asshole. So here's all these things that I can give you, that are better and more quality."
I baked you a pie.
Right, like I baked
Another
this.
thing that one of my friends likes to do is she has stuff specifically designed to break tethers that people put on spirits. So if someone's bound a spirit in that way to make it do something against its will, she'll be like, "Oh, okay," and like spring that specifically. In which case the spirit's like, "Oh, you're a real one, thanks," and they immediately go back to mess with the person who bound them to do that. They like do not like that, and they'll go throw hands back. It's very funny to watch that.
It makes me a little I kind of think about, I guess, thinking about death, right? So when I become a spirit, right? So when we all become spirits, and then we can become things that people work with, entities that people work with, that other practitioners will call upon. It makes me think about that, and like I want to like, it makes me think about like, okay, so like if I was a spirit and someone like conjured me to like do some shit that is very out of my character, you know what I mean? Like just very out of my character and my, sort of purview or whatever. Like, I guess I'm just curious how like those compulsions act in the spirit realm. Like, someone has summoned me and they've tethered me and they bound me like to do something I don't want to do. I would absolutely like if I went, I'm compelled to do the thing that I've been, contracted to do or whatever. And, I go and I bother this person. And if someone was like, "Hey man, do you want this instead?" I would be like, "Yeah, absolutely. That sounds way better." So like I can totally see how that makes sense, instead of just jumping to, banishing and exorcisms and like, zeroing out, going nuclear basically, instead of doing that, you can just be like, "Hey, I baked you a pie."
Sometimes you can make a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really useful tool. But I also want to say too, another thing, sort of adjacent to that, is kind of the overall what we were talking about harnessing the devils of our or
the demons.
the
The demons, yeah. So this is something
of our modern
Sorry,
world. No, it's okay. I just want to get this out real quick because but again, there is a exercise for something similar that you could in Donald Michael Craig's book, in which he teaches you kind of how to put a leash on those things. Now, he often talks about the things that are inside of you, like like if you have really strong vices that hinder you, if you have a lot of like crap that holds you back. He teaches you kind of how to anthropomorphize those things and create a spirit out of that, and then put a leash on it, right? But you can easily look at how he kind of goes about that, and I feel as if you can easily kind of construct from that your own, even just get inspiration to construct your own way of doing something similar.
I think that's where I've been lacking a little bit is I really want to do more ritual and spell writing and more prayers and just like more my stuff. I've absorbed so much and I've been learning so much and I'm really happy about that. But I think I'm at the tinkering phase again. Especially with like the Brockrai studies, like the folk magic that I've been studying. I think I'm definitely at that like tinkering phase where I want to start to take these prayers, take these chants, spells, whatever they are, like this material, and start to adapt it to what I need it to be, to what I want it to be. So yeah, I'm definitely in my lab experimenting sort of era.
So the one thing I wanted to bring up was how I was talking with my friend about how there's a lot of like, we live in dark times, right? And it almost feels like there's just demons running free and running loose and in charge and everything.
It does.
And I was bringing up how it would be very useful, I think, to do like deliberate demon work, and he was like, well, daimon is a more helpful term. I've found because of this reason and that reason, which I don't remember off the top of my head.
Because when I think demon, I just think like Catholic Christian magic demon. Like that's where I just default to. But daimon or daemon is like a different.
He's been working with an archetype of daimons, which I don't want to talk too much about because it's his, and I don't want to give it away. But he works with them as like faraway concepts, like the ones that he specifically invokes are like deliberately distant, you know? And I was thinking how it would be very useful to like name the demons or daimons of our modern time and do almost kind of like a daimonomicon or a daimonomicon.
Like a modern day.
Would be a modern day naming of the demons and daimons that really kind of like run shit in our times, right? And how to bind and banish and control the adversarial and damaging and dangerous ones, and how to work with the ones that are helpful without giving too much away from our episode where we talk about consorting with spirits. He talks about in that Astaroth being a very helpful demon that he's conjured, and she's not like what a lot of people have depicted her as, and she's not adversarial, and there's no need for him to try to bind her because she's comes in a different way and he has a different relationship with her, right?
Same thing with Malthus.
Pardon?
Malthus is also really gentle.
Malthus, yeah. Also the one who has all the legs, I've heard, is not that bad. The guy who spins, gotta go fast. He's like a circle of legs. Can't remember his name.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
But anyways, so not necessarily like binding and tethering all the daimons, but like definitely the bad ones, right? And like I was talking about earlier, how there's like an archetype for greed and lust for control in our society, and I named her avarice. And I think she actually works really well as like a starting point for like kind of a modern demon lord, because avarice is a level of like self-obsession and thinking that you have like the right to rule everything and take control, you know? And that would naturally be someone who would rise the ranks if there was like an order to demonology, and they do rule over each other, like it's often talked about in a traditional context. But we were also specifically musing over how to bind and tether demons without using specifically an Abramelech context, right? Because we didn't really feel up for that, and we wanted to kind of make our own new thing or something adapted from other forces, and we were looking at what would like actually bind and tether a demon, and they usually respond to like threats of power and force and prestige, right? And the ability to like put them in a box or something like that. So I had the idea initially of Hecate because she's very old. She like predates a lot of different archetypes. Like she even predates Greek mythology. She was like worshipped as like the Dark Mother before, you know? So that's a very good force to pull on as a starting point. But then when Scott was talking today about working planetary magic, I had the genius idea that you could actually use planetary sigils and planetary spirits to bind and tether demons that have relative power that would be governed under that planetary spirit.
It's funny, I was just thinking the same thing. I had this mental image of like taking these demonic entities, right? These things that, and like how you were saying tethering, but like tethering them, and like, you know how we say like, I'm gonna blast this into the sun, or I'm gonna launch this thing into the, like things that we don't like, or like I'm gonna launch it into the sun. Yeah. Like that's what I kind of thought. Like I'm gonna take this demon and I'm gonna launch it into the fucking sun.
I'm gonna harass you, that motherfucker.
Yeah.
I have had a very similar idea, like exactly what you're talking about, Sophia.
Launching demons into the sun.
Well, using sort of using like a broader
planetary magic to govern spirits, or to govern demons.
Elemental. So using the familiars, using the familiars of the four directions in my tradition or any tradition. So you can use the elemental spirits to bind relative demons. So like fire, right? Fire is, you know,
responding to the south.
right? Often representing what? It can represent creation. It can represent heat and warmth, and the things that we need. But when you're talking about elemental spirits, it's not just embodying the good things, right? It's embodying all of what the element is. So
it can destroy, it can create. Yeah.
You're looking at destruction. You're looking at what? Yeah. So it would therefore.
and Earth would represent inequity.
Oppress.
Yeah, because I see what you were saying just there, Sophia, like how using Earth for inequity, because normally Earth is all about like wealth and accumulation
and
of
abundance
wealth.
And balancing and like being grounded, but it get out of proportion. The demons of Earth are like famine, drought, inequity, shit like that. So if you wanted to bind demons over society, like for example, if you want to deal with lusting passions for like say people's lust for power,
like one of the Venus.
The one to hit, right? Or if you're looking for somebody's lack of emotional connection to be able to connect with the public, water, because it's their emotion center and it's them being off connected with that, right? Them being too stingy with their resources and hoarding it, wind. It also it's like transfer, it's movement, it's circulation, right? It's bringing that back. You can open their coin purse with that, right? Even though all of those things have different influences, they hit different angles on those specific aspects, right? So you can like specifically conjure the demons of all those related aspects utilizing those elemental powers. That's a very interesting idea. Avarice was 100% an Earth, because she's all about like mine, I deserve to have it all. So she's like probably one of the legionesses of the Earth realm, shit like that. And so we're kind of like talking about working on our own new model.
That's interesting that we've all kind of been on a little bit of a similar thought track when it comes to this, because I've been thinking very like I think about the problems of the world, but I try not to get too bogged down by the problems of the world, right? Because it's like I cannot change the world, right? Like one person does not change the world, kind of thing. So, sometimes I get wrapped up in that, but I've been doing better at not focusing on it too much, like giving too much of my energy away to it. But also at the same time recognizing that these things are terrible and they I just saw Darian in the background. I saw his mouth moving, but I saw you were muted. I got so distracted by Darian in the background. You can come off mute, Scott. Yeah,
I forgot I was
there. You go.
Yeah, it was funny. That's why I was smiling, because I was like, "Get it together, man."
Yeah. Oh gosh.
No, it's okay. We're almost an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say we were like an hour and 12 minutes in, so we should be wrapping this up pretty soon.
12 minutes?
Yeah, an hour and 12. Yeah, we've been in this chat for like an hour and a half, but we've been streaming for like an hour and 12.
So yeah, we should wrap it up.
Yeah, but this was a great.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can kind of wrap things up. So I really like this conversation because we're talking about winter solstice, right? And talking about maybe some of our own personal demons, right? Just within ourselves, the individual. But I think maybe, as we've kind of discussed here, this is a good time to talk about and reflect on our collective demons, our modern demons, the things that are holding humanity back. And I really liked where we were going with talking about how to manage this and identify them, name them. Once it's like, yes, once you give something a name, you give it power, but also at the same time, once you give it, you give it control.
I actually think it's the opposite. I don't think you give something power by giving it a name. I think you take its power away because you can identify it. These processes can move in the shadows, whether or not we identify them, right? So
True.
I think putting a name to it and a target is a way of already putting the first shackle of a binding around it.
Yeah, like I've identified you, I've named you, I know exactly who the fuck you are, kind of thing.
And how to target you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only thing I really have to add is kind of what I was saying earlier about almost sort of relevant to what you guys were saying, but is that during the season, Festival of Lights and the holidays, it's important that you don't give in to despair as much as possible. It's important that you know that trying to just, if you have to, I've been making my own ornaments this year for my tree. We've handcrafted every ornament on our tree this year.
That's what's up.
Yeah, everyone that's on the tree. Even our star, our Darian made, using like popsicle sticks and felt or paper or whatever and glitter and stuff. So just find joy in something. Make time for it. It won't be everything. It may not fill your cup as much as you need, but you need something, and you deserve it. You know, no matter what you may think or feel, take a minute, be with your loved ones, whether blood family or chosen family or all of the above. Just take a minute. And I love you all, and I hope you're having a wonderful and happy and blessed Yule, winter solstice, holidays. Yeah.
Sophia?
Yeah. Free Palestine for one,
Free Palestine.
because of the copy, and also the Congo and Sudan and everywhere else that's getting all these shitty genocides and imperialism just running amok over there, just genociding people of color left, right, and center.
And fuck
Keep
ICE.
that in your thoughts. Yeah, fuck ICE. Keep that in your thoughts and your actions this holiday if you can. Even if the world feels like it's burning down, staying alive is an act of resistance. So is finding joy when they want you to be afraid and to be scared and immobilized, you know? So sometimes having your holidays is a way of fighting back, because you got to keep your life and keep your center and keep your ground and give you that moment to recharge. So don't feel bad about taking time to be with your friends and family this holidays, because it's an important part of being human, and it's the core of what makes us strong. So don't neglect it, because it's a big thing.
And, you know, don't feel guilty about taking a social media break if you need to as well. You know, either just from scrolling it or from posting on it. Be present in reality. You know, it's good for you. It really is. You know, just if you are spending time with friends or family, maybe don't be on the phone. It might be a good idea.
And eat a fucking cookie. Eat a fucking cookie.
Eat a fucking cookie. Don't forget to leave your cookies out for Santa. It's very important. Talk about offerings to spirits. Cookies for Santa.
Or you can do cookies at the crossroads for Hecate.
Ooh, I feel like that should be your memoir, Sophia. Cookies at the Crossroads. That's it, right there. A memoir.
Why are they giving chicken soup for the, you know?
Oh my god, I don't want to be that milk toast, but I love where you're going.
It's your cash cow. Do it.
Cookies at the crossroads. How to be a witch in modern times.
Oh yeah, I could see it. Yes.
And then get my flute door to write Arcanum Divinorum and put it out as like an actual modern mystical revival document, and like, that's what's up, bitches. Let's go.
Also cookies. But yes, so we're gonna head out of here. Free Palestine, leave cookies out for Santa, and just be
Free
kind.
Palestine, fight fascists, fuck Nazis, you know.
All that shit. The spirit of the season. But yes, take care of yourself and take care of each other. That's the most important thing.
We love you.
Happy holidays.
We're gonna head out of here. We will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.